We walked across the bridge and it's really, really hot and muggy. It's supposed to be overcast and raining and cold. Like I say, they just never get it right. And there is the Museum to Civilization, now called the History Museum. We're going to go in and we're going to look at some culture. If you've never actually been to Quebec, I have to point out to you a couple of things. One, they actually do speak French, though the French they speak is very, very odd. And pretty much everything is actually written in French. So you better have some clue about French. And most Canadians have a little bit of French. Kitty, like a lot of Ontarians, has almost no French. Well, apart from the first two, it sounds dreadful. There's Liz signing away her rights to the Canadas. This, of course, is the Grand Hall, and we will be spending a lot of time in here, but first we're going to go in a special exhibition.
No free man shall be seized or imprisoned, or stripped of his rights or possessions, or outlawed or exiled, except by the lawful judgment of his equals, or by the law of the land. Magna Carta.
Kind of timely, eh? Oops, we're going into jail. In democratic countries such as Canada, civil liberties are rooted in tradition and law. In times of crisis, liberties can be tested. Should they be limited to ensure the security of both state and society? Using the War Measures Act, Canada suspended civil liberties 3 times during the 20th century and once in the 21st. And I agree with it.
No, ours is now called something different.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they changed it. They modified it and changed it to the Emergency Act, right?
Okay.
And it has different...
It's the same thing.
No, it's not exactly. It isn't. They tweaked it.
Okie-dokie. It's a good job we came here then.
It will tell us.
It's all a circle, isn't it? Are you pro-German? In 2022, when you see propaganda like this, it really strongly echoes of the time we're in now. Don't fall prey for this sort of stuff. This generalization and othering and hatred of another person based on colour, ethnicity, race, religion or whatever. Somebody's doing it to make you do something for them. Bear in mind, the war actually ended in 1918. It's very hard for governments, once they actually arrest people, to admit that they need to let them go again.
Deutschland an die Seite des Freundes Großmeer. In the middle of a forest. Yes, sir. Trickle of blood down his face. Here it is.
The topic of today's discussion is, was the barbarian more contented than civilized man?
Well, that sounds very interesting.
L'air réverbère, plongé dans le noir, la ville lumière.
Nothing falling on the overseas birds indeed. We're writing our interviews now.
De la part de la Grande-Bretagne. Et nous donnons également.
Canada's action was taken from him. It was at once recognized that Japan's actions were a threat to the defense and freedom of Canada.
This is how you make another person something different and inhuman so you can do inhuman things to them.
Within the confines of New Denver, a few blocks from the business section, a large settlement has been built on the site of an old orchard and takes its name from it. Life in the orchard is much the same as in the other spots. Each small community has a committee to look after many of the details of living. The Orchard Committee goes into session in its meeting place in the same building as the post office. This man is using a Japanese-style plane as he builds a boat.
Of course, Germany did exactly the same type of films for their internment camps.
Home improvement work goes on constantly. A pumping station was necessary for fresh water, so effort was expended to make it decorated. Life isn't all work in the orchard. This is a tense moment in a game of Japanese chess. As the village was built right on the shores of the Spokane Lake, a fine beach is available for swimming and sunning, with beneficial effects to health. Relocation has resulted in an improvement in the general health level.
The reality of existence wasn't quite what the propaganda film shows. What to me is absolutely frighteningly shocking is the United States of America has the same thing. I can go there, and if whether I was an American citizen or not, doesn't matter. They can arrest me without arresting me, and they can detain me without trial or anything, and even take me to a different country and torture me for as long as they feel like it. All because somebody labels me a terrorist.
It was 47 years ago that the Canadian government took the Indians' land to build an army base. Constructed their houses 5 kilometers down the road to Kettle Point. About 130 people were uprooted and moved, among them a little boy then known as Nobby. Today, Nobby is better known as Bob George, proprietor of the Kettle Point gas station and grocery store.
Who do you see there? You see a scared little boy, really. How old were you? Who are you got? I thought it was my sister at first, but I think it's my niece. I remember back in that time when they told me that when the war was over, we were going to get our home back. That must be one hell of a long war because I haven't got my home back yet.
This guy's an enemy of the state. The mayor of Montreal, Camillien Houdou. He didn't like the idea of the draft. He complained. He went to jail for 4 years. The draft in the First and Second World War were very unpopular in Quebec. In the Second World War, they interred about 850 Germans. They let most of them go within a year or two because they had no evidence of anything.
I remember when the RCMP officer came and literally manhandled my dad and shoved him onto the back of a pickup truck. In my child's mind, I was sure that he was going to be taken away to his home. We were taken Hastings Park. And after they registered us, my mother kept waiting. What was happening to us? What we saw was just unbelievable. Packed rows of those bunk beds, and the floors were still filthy with straw and feces. Our bathroom, so to say, was those proper running water that the animal waste were washed away. My mother was saying that we were all hungry, but they didn't feed us that night. She had a pound of butter in her suitcase. The only thing she could keep my brother from crying from hunger was to let him eat his butter. But we stayed there for about a month. And we were told that we were going to be transported to a place called Greenwood in the interior. They sent us to, I think these were abandoned living quarters of the miners who used to live in Greenwood. And it was just filthy. And we were given a little cubicle for 6 people where we slept on floors like, lined up like sardines. My mother got a really badly censored letter from my father. That's the first time we found out where he was, that he was still alive.
Were they actually
There
actualized?
was a lot of Frenchies were thrown in jail without trial, but it stopped it dead. The full speech is pretty good. It's like 20 minutes.
The police forces were not sufficient.
Proclame la loi sur les mesures de guerre.
Sweeping powers to the government. It also suspends the operation of the Canadian Bill of Rights. I can assure you that the government is most reluctant.
250 people were picked up under military occupation.
And they reported kidnapping exactly 7 days ago.
Le coffre était finalement ouvert et on y faisait la découverte du corps de Monsieur Laporte, ensanglanté.
Vive le Québec libre!
Because once they got you violent, then they know how to handle you.
Monsieur Bourassa, 843.
Maintenant que le Parti libéral formera un gouvernement majoritaire.
Senior British Trade Commissioner in Montreal, James Richard Cross, is reported to have been kidnapped.
Dans une société civilisée comme la nôtre,
The Police Act is invoked in Quebec, and all police and army personnel. L'indépendance totale des Québécois, réunis dans une société libre.
Relâchez M. Cross immédiatement.
Enlève le ministre québécois du Travail.
This has been a Dog Killing a Llama production, 2022.